I remember the first time I touched a gun was a gun that belonged to a man.
And during this time, there's no male figure in your life.
No. The male figures I had were the different partners my sisters would bring.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much you could pick up from them or learn from them.
No. One of them was actually a hijacker,
Sure.
a car thief.
I want you to take us through just the hardest parts about raising yourself and forcing yourself to be a man and to step out. Yeah.
And here am I, as a young man who lives alone.
Yeah.
There's no adult in the home. They have
Yeah.
adults, these people.
Yeah.
They have people living with them. I had no, my brother, not even umqashi, ngaphandle mhlawumbe.
You were more easier to turn to all these alternative lifestyles.
I had all the freedom to.
Nick,
My brother,
good to see you.
good to see you.
What do you think, or rather, who do you think has it easier in life? Men or women?
Yeah, no. I think we are comparing two different experiences,
Sure.
to two different realities,
Sure.
you know. Men don't have it easier, women don't have it easier. I think we just have our own equal ways of experience.
Sure.
It's like, for example, if you think about someone drowning
Yeah.
and a person
Yeah.
burning, if you look at both, you
They are
say,
both
who
in
has it
trouble.
better? No, they're both in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. I think it's the same with men and women. They have different experiences, they're different people. So I think, I think we just can't compare the two. That's what I think.
Sure. Sure. I think such a beautiful answer. Eh? Inner Man podcast, how do you think you relate to this podcast? Yeah.
Well, aside from the fact that I am a man, I do think that I relate a lot with it in the aspect that if we begin conversations where we speak about from my professional standpoint, working with mental health as well,
Yeah.
it gets quite interesting for me to
Yeah.
always speak on that subject.
Yeah.
So if we speak about it from the perspective of men
Sure.
in a world that empowers our sisters much,
Ooh.
I think it can be quite good to have a space of belonging to. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. You are a social worker,
Yes.
a pastor,
Yes.
social worker from Vets.
That's my brother.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
For being qualified.
It took a long time.
How many years?
Happened 8 years.
Yo!
8 years for a 4-year degree.
For a 4-year degree.
So I did it.
No, I think that was
twice.
record time.
It
Advanced,
was.
eh? Yeah,
Advanced
record
it
time.
was.
Yeah.
Well, for me, there are people who've done it less, but
Yeah, you know.
yeah, what matters is I finished.
Sure.
That's all that matters, my
Sure.
brother. Yeah.
Sure. No, man, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
I think I met you at CAF.
Yes.
Also met you at VETS, CAF,
Yes.
Christian Action Fellowship.
Yes.
And I remember we once had camp.
Camp.
Yeah.
Yes. The SAT camp.
SAT camp.
Uh-huh.
Right? And during that camp, there was a segment where we were sitting around the bonfire and we're just sharing vulnerably about some of the issues we've gone through in life, you know. And you have an interesting story to tell, right? Take us through it, man. The early years, the beginning of your life, what was it like for you?
Okay. Well, I was born to a very light-skinned mother.
Yeah.
I say that purposefully.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your the color of your skin. I'm like,
Yeah, no, we are
You know?
total opposite. Like
Yeah.
my mom was like the white person kind of yellow bone. you know.
Sure.
And I'm the total opposite. I'm the last born of 6, apparently, but we're 5 now. So when I was about 5 years old, I think I was just 5 in 2003. Now you know my age. Okay. So I think it was 2003. Yes, it was 2003 when I was 5 years old. Beginning of the year, so I remember I would sit in the house consistently, and my mom bekasebenza in my kitchen, so she would be there probably most of the time of the week. So I'd be left with an aunt or somewhere who lived in the same community. Then when she comes back home every time, I would see her come like from the window. So Indle Sekaya would give me the opportunity to see a person coming from the top of the street. You know, from up there, I can see you come.
Yeah.
So every time if I stand by the window, I'd see her come.
Yeah.
Run that way. Same for my dad as well. So, well, at least the men I knew as my dad then, but we'll come to that.
Sure.
So I would see them and then I'd run there, be with them at the time. Yeah, bo.
Okay.
So when all of that was happening, I think I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, one of those times I remember things started changing. You know, when I'd look at my mom come back, the speed was much slower. You know, she wasn't walking as fast then. She was walking slower every time she would come up the street and all of that. And I remember at one time, this is the one big memory I have of that day, where she was coming home and she had this JM big bag, the black plastic bags. This was inside my car. You see those ones?
Yeah.
She had it, and she had it at the top of her head, Abuye Kai. And when she was returning home, she was walking much slower as possible. I understood a bit later that she had now resigned and come back home because she was too sick, you know. So she couldn't go to work anymore. She started living home. She was on the bed every day. She was on the bed every time because she was very, very sick, you know. And she spent most of the day in sleep in the bed. Couldn't really speak much. If you touched her, literally, if you just touched her skin, there was pain and all of that. So she then passed on that year in December the 23rd, my elder sister's birthday.
And how old are you when she passes away?
I'm 5.
And you just realize that your mom is sick and she can't handle it anymore?
No.
Next thing you hear, she dead.
Passed, yeah. But before then, because she didn't pass in the house where we were, you know. So at that time, my dad started not coming, you know. By the way, my mom was a Kasotore Kinyatsi, so she was the Joburg wife.
Oh.
Yes, that's what my mom was at the time. She was the Joburg wife. And during the time of her sickness, I remember seeing my dad less and less. You know, I can't remember. I don't have a picture of him coming during those times as well.
So your dad had a wife back at home?
Back at home in Limpopo.
In Limpopo.
Yes.
But while he was at work here in Joburg, he lived with your mom?
With my mom here.
Okay.
So he had his own place at Joburg. You see where they built Park Station?
Yeah.
Before it was Park Station, my dad's flat was there.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So my dad lived there before it was Park Station back then.
Yeah.
So we'd go there every time. And actually in my student years, I stayed just next to it. So
Oh, wow.
every time I'd look outside the window, I'm like...
Nostalgic.
Yeah, you know. So she started coming less and less, you know. And of course, during that time, then what would happen would be that we're spending so much time with mom at home. She's there on the bed. My sisters are there.
Sure.
My brother is still living in Free State at the time, but he would come for holidays because my brother lived with my aunt for literally almost his whole life in Free State. I lived with my mom, with my other sisters, my 3 older sisters. So during that time then, my mom gets moved to Free State. You know, it was probably around the 21st or 22nd of December.
Yeah.
She gets moved to Free State, her father's house. But back then, our grandfather had passed already. So she stayed with her sisters back at home. On the 23rd of December, apparently she passes, while she's in Free State.
Sure. And you in Joburg?
We are in Joburg with my sisters. But we are not told until the 25th. This is what my sisters tell me.
Yeah.
We are not told about the passing of my mom until the 25th of December. On Christmas Day, where they call. So
wait. So she passes on the 23rd of September.
December. Yes.
Okay, and then you get only informed
2 days later.
2 days later.
Yes. So, and when they call, actually my sisters were calling home to find out how she is, apparently. And that's when they then told them that actually mom has passed. Same time, they sent a car from Free State to come fetch us here on the same day. But I remember prior to that, when my mom was being lifted, I think, to be taken to Free State, the last memory I have of her was that when people hold it with blankets on the side, because they couldn't touch her. The minute she touched her, she would be in excruciating pain. She had skin cancer and she had TB as well, and all of that. So they held her with the blanket on four corners, and I remember the facial expression she would have and the pain she would be in. They put her in the van. My brother was in Gauteng back then because he had come to visit. He left with my mom same time. And then we stayed there. Then that's when they told us 2 days later. Then on Christmas Day, we left to go to Free State. Rather, on the same day of Christmas, we went to Free State. Then, my mom was buried on the 3rd of Jan of 2004. And surprisingly, it was the same month where I was supposed to go start school for the first time, when my mom was buried. So a couple of days before I actually went to school, they buried her. And
you get this information on the day in South Africa where we spend we spend time with family. And you get to hear that your mom has passed on.
Yes. And it was my sister's oldest birthday, by the way. My elder sister's birthday on the 23rd of December, the day she passed. But I'm assuming that maybe that's why they didn't tell us on the birthday that she passed. They told us 2 days later, because maybe they were protecting my sister from having to spend her birthday that way. And 3 days after Christmas, it was my other sister's birthday, by the way. So my mom died in between.
It's such a painful time to die. What's your immediate reaction, emotion, when your sister tells you, I just got a phone call and they said,
Well, back then I'm a child. I didn't understand what it was, honestly. And I don't think I really knew what it meant. Even when I think it was time for the funeral to go, they kept telling me, for me, it didn't make sense then. I'm 5 years old and I'm not really clued up on what death is, So in my mind, the only time I knew the word Remopatile Mama or Simfihlile, it's when I was playing hide and seek. That's it. So I rationalized it to be that way. I was told recently, because I spent too much time at home in Free State, by my cousin. She tells me that actually, I even remember this myself, that on her funeral day, I would be playing at the funeral, at the graveside. I'd be at the gate, swinging with the gate and doing all these things. For me, I just continued as a child, I only understood what it is for passing, or what it meant that my mom passed when I was 12, turning 13. That's when I knew what it meant, and that was like 7 years later.
Sure. And when you come to the realization that, hectic, my mom has passed at the age of 12, what is it like then? What's the emotion like? What comes to mind at the age of 12?
At that time, it was the year I now started living alone. That's how I realized, by the way.
Sure.
That my mom passed. It was the time when I was starting to live alone now. My sisters moved out. They kept going. They went to their partners and all of this. And now I started living alone. That's when I think it made sense when they repeated it to me, that your mom is gone, has passed away. And then I understood what it was. So I remember sitting on my bed, not in my bed, my family bed, really, because it's an RDP house, so can't have had a bed. So ngihleli lapha embedeni, and I remember just weeping, and then I cried, and At the time then I just moved on. I didn't even cry much, I just moved on from that. Surprisingly, that same year I find out what it actually means that a person has died and my mom has passed away. It's the very same year I started living alone, but it's the very same year again where actually I found Christ.
Sure.
So all of these things at the same time.
I want us to just wind back. So your mom passes, you are 5.
Yes.
You guys go to Free State. The funeral proceeds. Do you guys come back to Joburg?
Yes. Oh, actually, there's something I found out.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Just as we were about to come back to Joburg, there was a bit of an argument, a tension between my sisters and my aunts, who were saying, you guys are still young. My siblings were, I think my eldest sister was 82. So in 2003, she was just 21, turning 22. Second born, she was 19, because 3 years apart, I think 19. The other one was about 16. Yeah, I think she was 16, if I'm not mistaken, 16 years old. My brother was already living in Free State. So there was a tension of them being asked, Uguti, why don't you leave Umpo? They call me Umpo Ekai. Why don't you leave Umpo with us so that we take care of him? You guys go back to Joburg. My sisters vehemently refused. And they said, we are not giving away our youngest brother. Wow. He's going back to Joburg with us.
Wow.
So I found out that's what they said. That's how I started living with my sister. So we came back to Joburg because I needed to go to school as well. So yeah, we came back soon after the funeral.
So your sister you come back with your sisters, they take care of you?
For the first couple of years.
The first couple of years.
Yes.
Where is Daddy after the passing of your mom?
He didn't even come to the funeral.
Nowhere to be seen?
No, he didn't come. Apparently he came after the funeral. I don't know this. That's what they told me. He came after the funeral at home, probably for a day or 2 or so. And then after that, he just went missing. He moved. Their buildings were closed. Park Station was being built.
Sure.
So when they did all of that, and then there was the fact that he moved to go live a Hillbrow, and then after that he moved from Hillbrow. Then he just went dark. Nobody knew where he was at the time. So during that time, then my dad is not around at all, not supportive. So from 5 until I was about 12, the people taking care of me were my sisters as well. So yeah.
How was it like then? Because I know you said at 12 then your sisters move out.
Yeah.
But during those mid years of from 5 to 12, how's the environment like? How are your sisters taking care of you? Are they working? Who's the breadwinner? How's the situation like at home?
Well, they all were working. They quit school.
Okay.
Well, apparently from what I found out, they'd quit school so many times before. Okay, they just generally never really liked, I think, the environment. But my elder sister was working. My second born sister was working. Third born sister, I can't really remember much. I do remember that she went back to school at some point. Then she quit as well. They all stopped grade 11, grade 10, most of them.
Sure.
So they worked. My sisters used to work by Ema plates. I forgot what they call that job, where they do plates and cups,
like pottery.
Pottery, yes.
Oh, yeah.
They did. They did. She worked in a company that does that. At some point, she used to work okay, and all of that. So they were breadwinners mostly.
Okay.
I had child support grant as well.
Okay.
So that would help them a lot as well, I think. Back then it was small, like 250 or 200. But
also,
it was a lot at the same time.
The economy was different then. 200 meant something then.
It was a lot. So yeah, I think that's just how it was. So they would do that. But there was also this place called Buitoko in a community where orphaned children as well would go there for some relief of food and all of that. So they'd give us some meal and all of that. So it helped, and There was a lady who was a social auxiliary worker in a community, who, like companies like Albany would offer, like, those breads that are maybe a bit, the ones that you wouldn't take to the shop. Those kinds, they would give them to her. Then a lot of them would go there every Wednesday. We knew that every Wednesday we go there to collect loaves of bread. So
it would last you for the week until the next Wednesday.
For the entire week. But I always ate a lot. I love you. But yeah.
So when you're living with your sisters, Park Station Manje has transformed.
Yes.
You're no longer staying there. Where are you staying?
I never stayed there.
Oh,
it was my dad who lived there.
Okay.
I mean, I was living home, where my mother's house, my childhood house. So my dad would come there. We would go to him, visit him for a day or two, but we never lived there. My dad used to stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
So your sisters are now raising you.
Yes.
Back at home.
Yes.
How was it like? How can you describe it? Was it a pleasant experience? Did you feel any discomfort at all, or for you it was just cool, I'm just growing up? There's nothing that you could pick up at that time to say this is actually a bit discomforting.
There were times I couldn't pick it up. So as much as I said my sisters didn't move then, some of them were not living with us. My elder sister, I remember she stayed with us for a couple of years, and then there was a time where she just went missing. She left, and we all didn't know where she was.
That's your elder sister?
My elder sister. She took her kids, and nobody knew where she went to. My second-born sister was the one living with me in the house. That born sister lived with us for some time until they fought together, my sisters. Then she moved out, the younger sister, to go live with her partner. And then during that time, then when I lived with my second-born sister, that's when I felt that I am not her child. Because things like Magzuiwa Eskolwen, she would say she doesn't have imali yogiskerisa, Then I would understand. For me, it just didn't matter. I would go to school. But when the kids come back, her kids would come back, then they would tell me how when they were going to their bus, Bakibeli bus, I was attending the school in the community, but they had this community bus that would take them to their school.
Okay.
They would tell me that our mom bought us some fat cakes when you're going there. Wangi you 5 rand your carer. I didn't get anything, And I would not say these things, I would just hear it from them, and I knew there was a constant pattern that would happen. Yeah, bon. If it's not that, it's the fact that if it's maybe during the time where we are home and all of that, you could see that the behavior is a bit different, so you'd see that they have been taken care a bit more of, than I am, As much as I think to a great degree, they tried, honestly, in those years. I'm not going to fault them for everything. They tried to do what they can, but it did feel like I'm not their child.
Sure.
That's where I started realizing a bit that there's some problems here. Yeah. But it only made sense when I got 10 to 12, turning 13. It was in December, when I was about to start living alone then at that time, because that's when they totally absconded from any form of responsibility. Yeah, boy, and they stopped entirely.
And during this time, there's no male figure in your life?
No. The male figures I had were the different partners my sisters would bring.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much you could pick up from them or learn from them?
No. One of them was actually a hijacker, a car thief.
Hectic.
Police came through Ekaya so many times. I remember the first time I touched a gun was a gun that belonged to a man.
Hey, man.
First time.
How old are you now?
I was in grade 6.
Grade 6?
Yeah, I think I did grade 6 in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah.
So back then I was 12. Yes, I was 12. First time I touched the gun with my hands, it was wrapped in a white t-shirt, but if I go drop in phezulu. But bebangekho, and ngisibonile, ngasithatha ngasibamba mina.
And you enjoyed it?
I pointed it. The minute I tried to point it out, the car came in. I wrapped it quickly, put it back into the wardrobe, and move. But those are the kind of people I saw. If it's not that, they are drinkers. They don't talk to us. And they talk to us when they send you to the shops, or they give you 5 rand, 10 rand, whatever they do. But I didn't have any male figure. All I had was my sisters. So yeah.
Okay, so you come to the age of 12.
Yes.
And that's when reality strikes in. That in actual fact, you are all alone.
I think at the time, it hadn't sinked in yet.
Yeah.
At the time, I just started feeling like I need to learn methods of survival.
Yeah.
I needed to know how to live, because when I started, it was in December. When my second born sister's son, first born, I'm only a year older than him. So he came from Free State. He lived in Free State as well. He's registered as my aunt's son. So the government sees, like, I'm competent to this. They see him as my aunt's son because she lived that side. He lived that side, sorry. So he came, and then I was living with them in the house, and it was him, it was his little sister, and one of my other nephews as well. And we were just there in the house, and then my sister would come to see us, but she would come to see us because the children are there. Then the boy went to Free State. They took him back to Free State. Then the daughter was there. She took her daughter. They're going to rent out, and then they left me in the house. And by then, I still get child support grant.
Yeah.
250, I think it was 250 then.
Yeah.
I still get it, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
So I started living alone. Yabona ukuthi, man. So kudlula amalanga manje anginakuhle, nobody's coming up. So I'm not understanding.
So they don't explain to you ukuthi Neku or
Siyahamba.
Buti siyahamba
No,
manje.
they
So
just
wait.
left. Yeah.
You realized after a few days, like how no one is coming
No
back
one,
home.
Yeah.
I'm all alone.
Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't get a conversation. I didn't get an explanation.
Yeah.
He just maybe she would go maybe for 1 day or 2 days, go to a partner, come back for a day or two. Next time she would go maybe for 3 days or something, come back for a day or two, and then at some point she just stopped coming. And then they lived in the same community, by the way. Both my sisters, they were just there, not far from each other. It was like moving from Mausevets, moving from the entrance, going to MPT. That's the distance of the houses, So it was that kind of thing. So when all of that was happening, I see, no, man, something is not right here. Yeah, and I'm studying high school, by the way, in January in 2011. I'm studying high school now.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening. So many changes going on, and I don't see what's happening. And now I'm at school, high school.
And these are your prime, your early teenage years, where you're experiencing a lot of changes in your body.
Yes, I'm experiencing all these changes happening, and I don't know what's happening, and I'm alone at the time.
Yeah.
So ngise high school manje, mfika esikoleni khona umunye umem Khumalo no mem Maswetsa.
Yeah.
So mem Maswetsa was my Sotho teacher. Mem Khumalo was just a teacher who was a friend to umem Maswetsa. So I think they saw, man, no, man, this boy wrong. I will say they call me to the office and they ask me what's happening, and then I start telling them, hey, I've been living alone. I live alone. I don't have anything at all. And then the first time somebody bought me toiletry, it was them. Wow. They bought me a roll-on. They bought me all these things. So that was the first time I knew that.
Shout out to good teachers.
Shout out to them, truly. I didn't know. That was the first time I used the roll-on and knew that I must take off my hygiene. So that's when things started going. So I would live with the survivor from the food that came from that place, Sebu Choko, and that bread that came from that lady. Then there was a brother. I think this brother I'm going to talk about is the guy who saved my teenage life. I'm not going to lie. Spiwe. He lives like a Konen Ngasekai. He started giving me a job. That's when I started working. And the job he would give me, it's either ongtumela ukuthi ngiyomthengela bus ticket to buy for a bus ticket for him every week.
Oh wow.
Then he would give me like 15 rand, for me to just go there. and then I would take that, buy something for eating and all of that. If it's not that, the job elevated, I started cleaning his house, like not the house, the yard. Garden boy. That it gave me like 150, not 150, 120, 115, 120, 125.
Oh, wow.
That's how much would give me to clean the entire yard. And that was a lot. I'd buy 12.5.
Yeah, in high school it's a lot. Yeah.
It was less than 50 then. 12.5, buy cooking oil and all these things. That's how I started living, you know. And then it started getting known in the community that this boy, of course, lives alone. Then there was a umama, Omunyaganji, she passed on. Lindelwe. So she called me to start helping her as well. She was part of the old apostolic church. So she called me, and then I would help her in the house, in the sense that she would try to remove the painting from the wall so that she paints again. So she would give me that job, and she would pay me like 150, 180, you know. So, and then she started adopting me. She would give me odd jobs just so that she can give me money.
Yeah.
You know? So I think to a great degree, it gave me that mindset that she wants to help, but she doesn't want to give it for free.
Yeah.
You know? So
which is good.
Yes, which was good.
Yeah.
So I started working at the time and all of that. But the good thing about her was that she reintroduced me, because I used to go to church with my mom. My mom was a believer, by the way.
Yeah.
So I used to go to church with my mom, but we stopped when my elder sister went missing, because she was the only one who took church serious. So I stopped. So she reintroduced me back to Christ, or to church rather. So I went to her church and we'd attend there and all of that. And then my exposure to new friends at that year in 2013 took me to, it was 2013, right? No, I'm wrong. It was still 2011 when I was in grade 7. At that time, I went to church because my friend was I met this guy and he was going to act out the drama at school. So I accompanied him, you know, to act out. He was practicing. So on the day of performance, on a Sunday, I remember that's when he missed going to church. He didn't come for the final act, but I wanted to see it. And I remember then that was the day I then intentionally gave my life to Christ in 2011. You know,
wow.
And
this is the 2011 is when you start high school.
First year, yes, the first year of starting high school, the first year of living alone. That's the first year. That's the time I found Christ. You know?
Sure.
So
in the moment of loneliness, that's when you actually realize that you are not alone.
Yes.
You actually, in fact, you actually meet God, who has always been with you. Sure.
Yeah.
I want you to take us through just the hardest parts about raising yourself and forcing yourself to be a man and to step up. What are some of the things that were quite difficult for you? Yeah.
I think it's the realization that I didn't have a choice. You know, I didn't choose to become ready, to be responsible. I did not choose to have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I never really had much of a childhood.
Yeah.
I don't think I had much of it. In fact, at the time where it's supposed to be at its peak, it's the time where I actually became responsible, had to grow up into becoming a man, one can say. Okay, gift. Okay, in my mind back then there's a mpo. You have this thing now where you are living alone and you're studying high school. You have to figure out how to go to school. I have to figure out what am I going to eat. I have to figure out what am I going to wear and all these things. I needed to figure my life out at the time.
And during this time, no one is guiding you to tell you this is what you need to do in life.
No, not yet. But there's a part that's pure. The brother who gave me a job played, you know, during that time. I think he's now going to grade 9. So it was a bit later on. So though he gave me odd jobs then, he was a librarian, by the way. He worked in a library.
Oh.
So he read a lot of books. You know,
Okay.
he still has a lot of books in his house now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So during that time, there's nobody's telling me much, you know. But in the small moments where I would go to his place, he would have those short conversations, just short ones.
Oh, man.
You know, my brother, no, you'll be fine. We see that your sister's left you. It's not that
Yeah.
we are blind and all of these things. He would have those, and then you then just keep working, and doing all his stuff. You know, then I would just clean the yard. He'd pay me. Never gave me a problem. He'd pay me, and then I'd go buy my stuff and all of those things. So in one of those years, then between grade 7 going to grade 9, so that's until like 2013, from 2011 to 2013, he then exposes me to reading. You know? So he exposes me to reading. And the first book I've ever actually read was a book by Paul Coelho, The Alchemist. You know.
Oh, The Alchemist. Oh, yeah.
That was the first book I've ever read, my brother. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, that book saved my life.
Sure. This is in grade 9.
This is in grade 9.
Yeah.
You know, grade 8 going to grade 9.
Grade 8 going to grade 9.
I never really read books. You know. I've always been a curious individual, like in a sense that Mangdula, even now I still am, that if I pass and I'm in a taxi or anything, if I see a sign written, I want to read it, you know, I want to look at it. I read everything, you know, I that's how I memorize things as well. The fact that I see how things are like. So I was that kind of individual. If I pick up a newspaper on the floor, I'd want to read a little bit just to see what it says. You see how much it is?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
you know the
did you
messages
know?
inside?
Yeah.
I loved them. What did you know? I loved those things.
Yeah. I
Even
also
now,
love
I
them.
still do it.
Yeah.
You know, to be quite honest. I still do it. Dad and love candies. I still read those things inside.
Yeah. The messages.
So, yeah, but the first time I've actually read a book was the book by Paul Coelho, The Alchemist, at the time. And it struggled to read it. Yeah, but I remember when I started reading that, literally almost all my friends, even a childhood friend that I grew up with was my neighbor. So if I lost my mom this year, the following year, a couple of months later, he lost his mom. But he had his grandmother and his uncles and his aunts, and everybody was taking care of them. He had child support grant, but that one of foster children. So I told about my 700, 800, that one. So mina ngihlela lapha ku 250. Because, you know.
Yeah.
So they took care of him.
Okay.
You know? But when we grew up around those times, then they started, you know, smoking, started doing all this crime stuff. Addictions began. All my friends were at those places. But for me, I'd found Christ then. And although I had the chance of doing these things at the time, I somehow felt the guilt of doing it because I thought of Uspiwe, who was holding me responsible.
Oh, man.
You know,
Such a good
I thought
man.
of the guy, yeah. So he would consistently, if he sees me, he'd stop me for a small conversation. Then we chat, you know. And that book, when I read it, I remember it's, of course, about a young boy who's in search of a treasure, you know. So when I read that, I think to some great degree, that's when I started giving myself that understanding, Yoguti, life has meaning. You know, so there's something that we are all in pursuit of. I think at the time, that's when I got exposed to thinking in that way, you know, imagining things that way, and I started dreaming a bit, you know, and it made me remember some of the dreams I had when I was a bit younger, hopes that I had. I think I'm still alone. I'm still living alone. I'm still figuring my life out at the time. And while doing all of that, here is a man who's giving me reading as an option, you know. So, yeah.
Uspiwe, we'll call him Uput.
Yes, Putspiwe. That's what I call him. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he married during this time?
He had a partner. I don't know if they were married then.
Or at then, but he
had a partner.
He was living with the partner.
Yes, they lived together.
Right, but he brought you in.
He brought me in.
Yeah.
So the partner knew me.
Yeah.
The partner knew me. They knew me. The family knew me.
Okay.
So he would take me in, read books. In fact, igarage yakhe, he built, back then it was still RTP in yakhe. And at some point he built it into a garage and made it into a bit of a small library. But he took me in, and then every time I cleaned the yard, so maphambi kwedustbin, he had, I don't know if you know, dama-case la amazenke la bafaka khona izinto zonke ezihlala ngaphandle. Like those cases like that, they sit. So we'd sit. He would stand there, and then I'd sit probably on top of it, and then we'd talk a bit.
I see. I see.
Yes. Then I would sit and then we'd speak a little bit, and then we'd chat about books, we'd chat about the things happening in the family, in mine, in my life, in the community, you know. So it was all of those things, man.
And those small conversations were life-changing for
They were
you.
life-changing. Because I was also, I don't want to make it seem like I was perfect. There was
Yeah.
a point where we spam up benzene,
Yeah.
my glue.
Yeah.
I used to do those things
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
But man, I don't know. Every time I think about the conversations with that man, I'd feel like something wrong I'm doing here, you know.
So
And
he played a huge role in making sure that you don't get into substance abuse.
yes,
Or find yourself doing izinto eyibheke ecaleni.
yes.
Would you say that that is the biggest contributor a man also carries to other young men?
Yes.
Let's say if more men were present at home, do you possibly think we'd have less young boys given into all these substance abuses based on your experience?
I think if we had not even young, if we had men that are responsible,
Yeah.
present,
Yeah.
because there are men that are present but
But not
still irresponsible.
Yeah.
I told you of the person who was a hijacker.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
you know. But for him, I'm not gonna make him perfect. He is not a believer. He believed that God exists, but he's not. That's what he says. But
Yeah.
he's a Rastafarian. That's what he used to call himself. So he calls God Jah. So, but the responsibility he played at the time, though I was young, was the fact that he listened. You know, so for me, I think to a great degree, there's a very huge responsibility that comes with being an example to the younger generation as a man, so that we can see a little bit of how a life outside of what you are used to is possible. Because in my community, my guy, the things that were common was it's either you fall into drugs, if you go to school, you're gonna quit. At some point, it's not gonna work out. If it's not that, it's crime. If it's not that, you are a drunkard. You know, there's just something that's just happening. And then there's people who play soccer. You know, there are very bright people in soccer, but the best you can become there is to be a community legend. You know, of the fact that no, you're a great soccer player, but there's nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, but the man, what he did, though he lived in a community, was to make me think beyond the experiences in that place.
Oh, wow.
Was to make me think beyond it. You know, I mean, I never lived in his house. You know, I went there during the day when he was around on those weekends because he spent his time at work. He worked at the Johannesburg Library. So that's how my life was like at the time. Like I would go during the day, but man, the small chats I've had with that guy, I think they saved me a lot from the common challenges that every single person in the community goes through. Literally the person who lives next door to me, my friend, at some point he got addicted. You know, he's free now. He went to rehab. He's fine now. There was a point where he was literally so addicted. Another friend, childhood friend of mine, he was beat up by the community because they used to mark people in the community. Mshaya strong,
Eish.
and all these things were happening.
Yeah.
And here am I, as a young man who lives alone.
Yeah.
There's no adult in the home. They have adults, these people.
Yeah.
They have people living with them. I had no, my brother, muntu, not even umqashi, ngaphandle mhlambe.
You were more easier to turn to all these alternative lifestyles.
I had all the freedom to.
But God protected you, and I mean also the role that Uputsimpiwe played in your life.
Yes. So, to a great degree, I think God used himself, of course, to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
But he used another man who was not a believer to actually sustain, not even sustain, but become a role model.
Yeah.
You know, for me to say that there is a life that exists and that's very possible outside of addictions, outside of crime, and outside of just becoming metric, you know. If it's not that you work, my brother, I've seen dreams die before my face. I've seen people that were hopeful going through all these things. And I would look at like every time I think about the kind of things that I could have become, there's a point where my neighbors used to sell inyaube.
Yeah.
They sell drugs and all of those things. They moved in a couple of years later. They found me living alone as well, figure. So
you know how
I know
looks
it,
like.
my brother. I know the back of it.
Hey,
You would say I was a mule, if you want to say. Because they would send me to go collect these things so that they can at least give me either some plate of food or give me some money. Then I'd use that to buy food at the time. So I used to carry those things. So that mangba takes So later, of course, I don't think they sell them anymore now. But at that stage, at that time, my brother, I used to carry these things.
You were a drug mule.
My brother, and I'm saved.
Yeah.
When this thing is happening, I'm saved. Yeah, but I need to make something.
Yeah.
I'm not so mature. I'm saved, I think, by reason of, the fact that I've accepted Christ, but nothing really has changed much yet.
And there's no one to direct you, say, no, this is not the way to go.
No. No. I think the person who then came at a later stage than after Spirit, because at some stage then we're still fine, but our relationship wasn't as strong anymore because I'm now growing into a believer. I remember I was doing my matric now. By the way, we found my elder sister when I was in grade 10.
Grade 10.
We found her.
Still in the community?
No, she was not living in the community.
Okay.
The first point, the one who went missing with the kids. So the story with that is that I remember I just started becoming a little bit serious. I was in grade 10 in 2014. Started becoming a little bit serious. It was school holidays in June. I remember I was at church, Pastor Gabriel Siane, who's the man who led me to the Lord.
Wow.
We're sitting at his church, he's preaching. And then after he preached, I remember feeling the inspiration to pray for my elder sister. And I'm like, to the Lord, I said this to God. I was like, God, all I'm asking for now is that bring my sister home.
Wow.
If you do that for me, I promise to serve you for the rest of my life.
You know the promises we make God sometimes.
I said that. I got home. I'm preparing. I'm ironing my school uniform now for the next day because I'm going to school in grade 10. I'm living alone still. Surprisingly, I'm living well. I'm living okay. I'm surviving okay. I don't know where the provisions are coming from, but they are coming. I can't remember how I used to survive sometimes, but they were there. I'd live eating and all of that. So I'm ironing, I'm preparing as long as into the school. I hear a knock, then I go and I open. It's my sister's eldest daughter. She knocks with a colored friend. And then she says they are running away from police somewhere. They did something in jail. Okay, in her, she's running away from Mama Police. And it's back to me.
This is at night.
The same day.
Do they know that they're coming to their uncle's place?
She knows that she's coming home. She knows the place.
Oh, yeah.
She knows who's like Abu Mamak.
Yeah.
So she knows exactly where she's coming to.
Yeah.
So they ran. There was a putti. For a couple of days, then they can go back. So in her mind, she's just running away for the purposes of safety. In me, God just answered my prayer because we found her. Then we found my elder sister, and fortunately, then we reconnected with my elder sister. But at the time when we found her, mentally ill,
Man.
So she was mentally ill. They lived literally, my brother. If there are squatter camps that are horrible. That place was worse. It was worse. And she had a newborn baby as well. My nephew, he has vitiligo. So he had a newborn baby at the time. Sure. So now they came back home. They lived with me. I was in grade 10. From grade 10 going to matric, I had to take off my elder sister and her children. So my sisters came into the picture for a couple of months, but as usual, they left. So then I took care of my sister. I took care of her 3 children until I finished matric, where I took care of them. Then the kids moved to Free State. I was left with my elder sister, where I needed to take care of her. So when I was doing all of those things of studying for matric exams and all of that, I had to ensure that my sister, who's mentally ill, eats and I eat at the same time. And then, of course, she then later moved to Free State, where she's currently living now as well. Sure. So all of these things were happening at the time, but in that year of my matric year, exactly around June, there was a man again that God brought into our school whose face was terrible. This is a person who, when he came into the picture when I was in my matric, he comes into the picture to come with this organization called Reach for Life South Africa. And they're going into schools preaching and doing teachings for teenagers and all of that. He starts the church, the student, the learner fellowship.
So
SCO. Yes, school in high school. And then he preaches for that year. And I remember that's when I started becoming a little bit serious with the Lord again now. And then around November, when we finish our exams, we have a night prayer the 25th of November, if I'm not mistaken, at church. The brother here decides that I'm not about to finish my exams so soon. I go with my friends, so shy here.
This is after you've written your final matric exam.
This is after I written
and you're like, the best way to celebrate is not church. Church is not the vibe.
It's not it. I became a little bit of a DJ during those periods.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
you
would say that you had backslidden a bit.
Yes, I did. I've backslid a lot in my life back in those years. So at that time, I remember then I became a bit of a drunkard. I'm still strong, my brother. And I remember the 7th of December, 2016, we were drunk with my friends. People were fetching reports. I was waiting for my matric results.
Okay.
Drunk with my friends.
So you wrote your exams 2016,
yes.
Matric exams, okay.
Yes. And then we were drunk with my friends. We are sitting there and then as we are sitting down, I remember so I have a bottle I'm still by the time it gets to a level where it was probably around this level, saying I hear a voice and I'd like to now say that was the Holy Spirit. And it says to me, is this how you want to live your life?
Ooh.
That's all the question came. And as drunk as I was, I look straight to my friends and I say to them, this is the last time you see me drinking.
Wow.
I'm drunk. They don't believe me. They don't think I'm serious. But I'm telling you, this is 2020. You see, this year, it's going to be 10 years since I took that decision and never looked back.
You never have tasted alcohol ever since?
Ever since.
That decision.
That was the decision I took on that day when I was drunk. I think it was on a Saturday. On the Monday, I'm moving away from my mom's house. Phase 1, I'm going to a different phase. So that I become a little bit more serious with the Lord now. On my way back, I meet Sfiso Stebe. We
stand there.
And then and then I tell him everything. Did the man not preach? We stood there probably for an hour. The man was ministering. By the time I left the place where I stood with him, I don't think he ended up going where he was going, by the way, as well. Because we got and then from that time on, he became my mentor.
Wow.
Because I'd see him almost every single day.
So he's staying in the community?
Yes. He's staying in the community.
And you are moving from home to a different place.
Yes.
What's that place?
My mom's older sister's house. Same community still.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a walking distance, like 15 minutes walking distance. So they got houses in the same community. So she was not living in the house. It was empty. Tsepiso.
So the house was empty.
Yes.
So you are leaving your mom's home to her place, to guard her place.
Yes, to go and just live there. I think in that year also it was because my sister, the one who was mentally ill, a lot.
Yeah.
And that time I remember my sisters started showing up a bit more again at the time, and they would be home because it was that thing with Mabalo and Abantu Babo Bazekai.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm not having this.
You want some peace?
Yeah,
so
I left.
Let me go to another space. Okay.
That's how I left. Then that time, Fiso was literally the person who spoke to me almost every single day because in it's very close. We're not far from each other, same street. I'd be at his house a lot. The first time I preached was in that guy's room. The first time I preached a message in a cell meeting, it was in his room. when he gave us the opportunity to do that on a Monday.
Yeah.
And the first time where I started now talking a bit about literally my whole life as well was during that time as well. Yeah, bo. So yeah.